follow closely, trust silently.
Yesterday, I shared an Akshan list that I consider to be a little bit wacky, but a lot of fun, where I paired him with Taric, and today we're going to do the same thing, but with Viego. And no, I don't mean pair him with Taric, I just mean play a bit of a wacky but fun Viego list. Today, we are going to pair Viego with Zed. I think there's a lot of really neat interactions, and we're going to go through the deck list in just a moment, but first, traditional house cleaning stuff. So if you're new, consider subscribing, hit the like button, it's free, really helps me out. Also, if you like today's deck, the deck code will be in the video description, along with a link to Mobalytics. And if you just care about the gameplay, I use time tags, so you can use those to hop forward and just check out the games. But now we're going to go through the deck list, talk about the interactions, starting with Eye of the Dragon. It is worth noting, we are on an even 20-20 split for spells and units, and that's great for keeping the triggers of this up. It's not super mandatory, but it can be helpful, because this is a bit of a combo deck. It's like mid-rangey but combo, and you want to stall until you can get it off. Also, this makes an ephemeral unit, which is important for many other interactions I'm going to highlight along the way. Glimpse, this is card draw and also triggers for Viego to make sure you're producing those encroaching mists. Mask Mother. Mask Mother is here because there are a number of ephemeral units that we create, and if Mask Mother eats an ephemeral unit, it loses ephemeral but keeps all of the stats. So for example, if Eye of the Dragon makes that Dragonling and then you play Mask Mother on it, you've spent 2 mana and you end up with a 4/3 lifesteal, which is a pretty good value, and you get the Fearsome. So Mask Mother has some pretty solid interactions. Also, if you do level up Viego and it starts stealing your opponent's followers, you can then eat said followers with Mask Mother to slowly chip away at their board, because that is just a stealing for the round effect. So this is also a great way to make sure they never get their followers back. Twin Disciplines is busted, and it helps us keep our Zed alive. Vile Feast is here for 2 reasons mainly, and it's actually so that you can pop spell shields, because right now the meta is just rampant with Sivir and Ruin Runner. And beyond popping spell shields, it's also a great way to give you like a 1/1 blocker that you can throw to the wolves and then again trigger your Viego. We're running the Camivoran Soldier just to help out with the Viego. Also makes an ephemeral unit. Again, once those start to get a bit bigger as far as the mists go, Mask Mother can eat them as well, so that's another great target. Dark Water Scourge is in that same boat. Your Mask Mother can eat this. This is also a great card if you've got Viego on the board, because you can play it. It will hopefully be able to attack, get you some life back to help you stabilize, but then also give you 5 power towards leveling Viego, and it combos brilliantly with Deathmark. Yes, I love this card. I'm always looking for excuses to play it, but very rarely are there times in a meta where it'll work. But right now it actually works, gang. We have enough ephemeral units in this deck to make Deathmark work. We've got some quick attack units and some sources of barrier and things like that to even better take advantage of making something else ephemeral. But because we can make Scourge stick, because we can make some of these mists stick, etc., etc., Deathmark is actually really solid in this list. Zed. Zed might seem like an unlikely pairing with Viego, but if you have a Zed on the board and then you play Viego, when you attack with Zed, even if they're blocked, the shadow created by Zed is going to die. It's ephemeral. So that's a guaranteed trigger for Viego, so he makes mist, and also that's 3 attack power towards leveling Viego. So as weird as it seems, Zed is like a tempo play that sets up your Viego later, and it works out really well. Concussive Palm here is really just tempo, right? You are stunning your opponent, you're getting a free body, you can then block with that body or send it again to the wolves, trigger Viego, yada yada. 2 Deny, pretty standard for Ionia lists. 1 Spirit's Refuge. This is here as like a backup plan for gaining health and stabilizing. If your Scourges or your Eyes of the Dragon aren't getting it done, you've got this 1 Spirit's Refuge, and it's really nice if you have a massive Viego, because you can, you know, once he's up to 8 or 9 or 10 attack, you can basically refill your health in a round. 2 Deep Meditation. I'm currently running this as a 2 of and Glimpse as a 2 of, just so I have a nice split. And then we've got Viego naturally, And then on the top end, 1 Dawn and Dusk, and then the Hydrovines. Dawn and Dusk is actually great on Hydrovine because if Hydrovine's your only unit on the board, you're going to make 2 copies. And then on top of that, you're going to get those mists. Now, if you have a Viego on the board and you use your Dawn and Dusk on something like Hydrovine, or even just on Viego himself, this is like a mini harrowing, and it will be a great way to level up your Viego. Now, you might be wondering, hey, why are you not running harrowing? The reality is that it was kind of hard to fit in, and it's like a super top end, and this is a bit more tempo-y, and so I don't think that it is ultimately worth it. Now, that being said, if you really like harrowing, you can drop some cards, put 1 or 2 in. I do not blame you. So far in the games I have played, though, I haven't really missed it. Dawn and Dusk has actually been better. It's just kind of like a cheaper harrowing that gets Viego up and running that much faster and gets you that many more mists and so on and so forth. And again, because we are also running 3 copies of Deathmark, you can do some really funny stuff with Dawn and Dusk, combining it with Deathmark to keep Viegos or keep additional Zeds and so on and so forth. So that's the list. Hopefully you enjoy it. We're going to go play some games now so you can see it in action. Well, it's going to be a battle of the Viegos. Again, as far as I know, the Nasus interaction with Viego is still bugged. So PSA for those out there. I'm not sure that's the way to go. I think that if you want to play that style of deck, you're actually better off just playing Viego Thresh. Again, this is my own humble opinion, but Viego acts as like a mini Nasus because it's growing with your mists. Now, it's not growing to the same capacity that a Nasus would, but we're going to go ahead and develop this Eye of the Dragon. And just top deck Zed. See, that's how you know you're a good player. Good players just know how to top deck, right? You just very skilled. Get this going. Okay. Okay. I respect it. They're still gonna have a fair number of cards. I suspect at some point here we're gonna be getting sands and stuff going. Oh, I think we just pass. I also think we just go ahead and take that. There's not really much of a reason to risk anything. And I think we're just passing our way through until next round where we can develop Viego. And then maybe get the Deathmark stuff going in our favor. But we'll go ahead and drop our own Viego here. Likely going to see one from their end, but maybe not. But Viego works very nicely with our Zed, and that's the important piece. We do have a Twin Disciplines to keep them alive if we really need to, but I think ideally here we'd like to consider using a Deathmark. And we're gonna send it. Because again, if they block with Viego, I guess we can go with the Discipline to try to force that trade. And if they go with something else, we'll let the Living Shadow die and we'll use Deathmark instead on our Encroaching Mist, because we want this to die so that this triggers.
I will not be made to wait.
And we're gonna get at least one Zed strike in, which is nice. The potential counterplay here would be Vile Feast, but I think we still see if they have it. We make them use it.
Follow closely. Strike silently.
And poor Viego. Let go my Viego. All right, so we've got our board. This is exactly what we were looking for. We've got the Zed, we've got the Viego, and we've got a lot of tools to protect it. So really, at this point, it's just about conserving mana and making proper plays. We're fine with sacrificing this to just generate another mist. So if they do swing with their 3/3, like we expect them to do, we just let it happen. That actually helps us more than anything. Viego there, also a rather nice pickup, but we're just going to continue to generate pressure with Zed, because again, this gives us the Viego triggers. There is a temptation, I'm not gonna lie, there is a temptation to try to deny this, but I don't think that is correct here. I think we would rather save our deny for maybe something like Atrocity later. This is Viego Nasus, so I think you kind of have to assume that's up their sleeve. So I think we still let this go. And we're now kind of faced with an interesting dilemma because we don't have a good answer for this Viego yet, but we are at 18 health with a Spirit's Refuge for later. So with them being so low, they can't write a negation. As weird as it sounds, I think we just eat this by taking it to the face. Like so. We're just gonna say, I will take 8 damage from you, Mr. Viego, because we've got plenty of ways to get that health back. And because we can't carry the mana over, I think what I want to do is just do this because it also gives us the blocker that we would like for the free sacrifice. It also triggers the Dragonling defensively, which is going to be very relevant. The Nasus is kind of spooky, but we do have the Palm. This will be great for us next round. Yeah, I think we just pass still. We're just playing a resource game at the moment. And so we go like this, so that we can make sure Nasus does not level up here.
Surrender to me.
And we likely go ahead and start pushing some serious damage here, though. So this is interesting. We do have the Death Mark now, which we could use to kill this Nasus. If we just swing with the Zed, for example, and don't give it anything else to block. That is certainly an option, but I think we actually just send everything. I think this is correct.
Return to dust.
And so we just go ahead and do this. Wait and see what the responses are.
On my mark. I am shackled. Claim what is ours.
We're gonna get some damage in. Top off our health. Kill a Nasus. No Viego growth unless we can kill something, because sadly our Living Shadow did not die, but I think that's an acceptable trade-off. All right, so this is interesting. They're playing the Walking Sands now. This tells me that they very well could be trying to set up a Viego play. Oh, they just want to glimpse it. Okay. I think this is worth one of our 2 denies. If their hand is that bad, we would like to say no. All right, so they have a Spirit Leech. They're gonna get to draw the cards anyway, but we're doing, again, I think a great job of getting the pressure going. Kind of is a shame that we didn't have a way to kill something for our Viego to level. It's going to here. As long as Viego doesn't die, this will for sure trigger Viego. And it doesn't matter because we get a surrender. So beautiful showing of exactly what we wanted the deck to do when we drew it up. And we're going to play some more games. This one could be a bit more difficult. Sivir is in a great spot right now. Very, very strong, in my opinion. Sivir and Ruin Runner with the spell shields are bad enough. But then when you also factor in LeBlanc, you're potentially going to be having a bad time. We're going to have a decision to make here if they take the open attack, because while we do have the Vile Feast, we also want to play the Zed with the potential. Well, this changes things up. So, because they played the Rockhopper, even though we wanted to go Zed with Mark or Zed with Discipline backup, I think you have to do this here because we want our Spider to be the unit. Actually, might have been a mistake here, though, because this is going to give them credit towards Reputation and greater credit towards Sivir. So I think the targeting there was incorrect by me.
Go get the shiny tablet.
We're going to go ahead and just jam Zed. We don't expect too many shenanigans there, because even if they had something like the -2 scry effect, we would have been fine. Legitimately a tough decision because we have this deny and there's not likely many things we can actually use it on, but it's also our entire turn. And so the issue here is if we deny this and they have a Merciless Hunter, then they get to kill our Zed. We do not have the Disciplines backup. So we have to say, are we okay with taking 5 and giving them another shot at Reputation to keep this Zed alive? And I think the answer is yes. I think we are okay with that because I think protecting the Zed is more important right now, just given the state of our hand. So there's the Hunter. Okay, they are still going to kill our Zed, and so it was all for naught, huh? Well, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. That's entirely just a mistake by me, but we're gonna make the best of it. We'd actually kind of like them to play a Sivir here, because we would be able to ping off the spell shield and then still use the death mark on her.
Look what good
But
comes of mortal greed.
wow, instead they go ahead and they do that to us. That's not very nice. That's not very nice. Another Scourge is okay. If we can find more death marks, that's beautiful. We haven't really done much,
Out here, you're moving or you're dead.
unfortunately. We could just play this defensively now, even though it's not really the best of values. What an interesting position to be in. I think we do want to do this because we're likely gonna have to use this Twin Disciplines this round, and we want 2 spells to be used. Wow, interesting. Not what I was expecting at all. Not what I was expecting at all. We have this combo, but I don't think it's the right time to use it. I think I would rather just get some recurring value up and running. I mean, if we absolutely have to, we can use this with a death mark on something, but... we'll go ahead and ship these. I expect some kind of buff, maybe like shaped stone here. Well, now. I'll see if we can keep it alive. They could have another one.
Saw that a mile away.
Sivir is very close to leveling though.
Bingo. Almost got it.
Very close to leveling now. We're just gonna go ahead and jam another vine to go wide with the blockers. I expect them to have some sort of trick for this one. The other option was we could have saved for Deathmark, but I like having these two, I think, as a combo. I'm still upset that I gave up that Zed earlier, not playing the sequence of events in my head through properly. So I'm trying to be patient now, because that was just an absolutely awful mistake on my part. So right now we're fine with this attack as is, because we're just trading ephemeral units back and forth. I mean, they obviously have reputation active, have Sivir leveled, but it's good enough. We stalled. So even with my horrible play mistake, I mean awful, we navigated this to 2-0. I have been goofing off since the event started, and so I'm still not even diamond yet, but I'm happy to take the 2-0 here because it's making up for the fact that I fell a lot on day one trying to make a bunch of stuff work that I had no business trying to make work. But I do think that this list is cheeky. I don't know that it's going to be a like top tier list by any stretch of the imagination, just because of the presence of Sivir in the meta, whether it's Sivir Zed or Sivir Akshan. There's just an awful lot of spell shield running around, but I think that this is pretty good against aggro, just given the sheer amount of lifesteal you have and the kind of stuff that you can pull off with Deathmark is at least fun. I'm actually really happy that I've got a list that I can play Deathmark in, so I like it. I like this list. But if you made it this far, I appreciate you. Thank you for watching. As always, again, I know I said it earlier in the video, but if you're new, consider subscribing. And until next time, may you walk on warm sands.